Hello, welcome to TMSM Live on Location from Cirque du Soleil. Everybody cheer? Thank you, thank you. I just want to introduce our host for the day, Michele Atwood, and her guest co-host, Lou Mongello.
Hey, hello, Disney Springs. I'm so glad to see you all here today. And hello to everyone who is watching at home. We appreciate you as well. And a big thank you to my co host, Lou Mongello.
Was clearly just fascinated by the rolling chair on stage.
It is pretty smooth up here, isn't it? See, and I wasn't even sure we were going to get any performances today, but apparently we are. So thank you, Lou.
Just waiting for the swing to drop.
So I wish we could do the swing. How fun would that be? So isn't this theater beautiful, you guys? I mean, it is just gorgeous in here. Now, how many of you have actually had the privilege of seeing John to life so far? Oh, wow. So some of you, absolutely. That's great. Now, you and I have seen it. We got to see it for Media Night back in November. And I thought we could talk a little bit about how before everything had the horrible shutdown, you and I were invited to come and talk to the creators of the show and get a little bit of inside information 2 years ago.
Which seems like a lifetime ago.
It really
It
does.
seems like ages ago since we were here, and such a huge gap in between. My heart broke for the performers and the production crew and the cast being so close to, to bringing up the curtain, and then the world shutting down behind them. But there's opportunity from adversity,
Yes.
so they were able to make improvements. They even said to some of the show elements that they had in place.
Yeah, and that's another thing. They were literally weeks from opening when all of that happened, and the little bits and pieces that we got to see before the shutdown were really exciting. We got to see one of the acts, we got to see some of the costumes, and it just made you want more. They made you want to see more of this beautiful show. And then now that it's open, we got to, a small group of us actually saw it again last night, and it's just as good as when we saw it in November. It's one of those experiences that you could continue to see over and over and find it entertaining and fascinating because there's so much going on. I mean, as you can see, the stage has, there's stuff on the stage, but there's performers. It's filled. I don't see. I'm overwhelmed. I just saw it last night. And my mind is like, boom, because there's so much happening.
The biggest compliment and testament I can give to this show is that we came to see the media preview, whatever day it was. My hand to God, I walked outside and I bought 4 tickets because I needed to come back with my family because I was that impressed at just how remarkably good and evocative and emotional and spectacular a production it was.
It really is, and it gets you. It's entertaining, but it also gets your heart too. I mean, I had a couple moments where I cried during the show. Do you?
Listen, I'm a crier. Like, I'm going through menopause. It's a very tough time in my life.
Oh my
But
God.
notwithstanding that, I did. It is because, and I think if you're a parent too, you can definitely get the sense of Disney pulling on the parental heartstrings,
Oh,
like
for
you
sure.
know what we're talking about. So yeah, there was many times that I cried.
Yeah, and also you can see up here and in the lobby if the show is about the 12 principles of animation is a big inspiration for the show, and it is a love letter to Disney animation. I actually had asked last night, what would the takeaway be for somebody for this show? Like, what would you, if there was something that you want people to know about this show, and that was one of the things was it is a love letter to animation. It Soleil, but puts so much Disney history and animation and storytelling. It's unlike anything really I've ever seen.
And anybody ever see Lanuba when I was here?
Oh, Lanuba,
Like,
yes.
I loved Lanuba. Like, rest in peace, Lanuba, wherever you are. But this is the perfect show for Walt Disney World because it is that wonderful marriage of Cirque du Soleil storytelling without having to utter many words at all, and the Disney storytelling that also comes through simply just in pictures, and obviously the music too plays such an important part.
Oh, for sure. And I have some key points. There's so much that I want to tell you about Drawn to Life. So I actually have some cheat sheet notes because I don't want to forget anything. So I thought that we could talk about some of mention some of the cheat sheet notes, and then we can expand on them. Is that good? Because this show deserves all the talking points because it
Your
really
nails
is
are
that
so
good.
glittery. I just noticed. I didn't even know I was supposed to like be glittery for this.
Lou, I'm always glittery at some point. So, okay. So Lanuba was here for 19 years, and it was synonymous for Disney goers. I mean, how many people have actually seen Lanuba over the years? It was like just part of everything happening at Disney Springs, and now they have Drawn to Life, which is brand new, but I think that it also will take on that same take that same place of Lanuba to where it can become a tradition to people that come to Disney Springs.
I think Drawn to Life is more of an attractor for a casual Disney fan that's coming. I think if you came on a Walt Disney World vacation, there's so much to do, right? It truly is the vacation kingdom of the world, and now you can't do it all in 7 days. And I think sometimes Lanuba was a very unfortunate afterthought because it didn't have the Disney connection. Now I honestly believe, not just because I'm sitting here, I honestly believe that that Drawn to Life should be part of your vacation plans. And I love the fact that the show appeals to adults, to young children, to parents, to families. There is something that everybody in every generation can take away. And I think it's a perfect way to sort of punctuate a very nice evening at Disney Springs.
Oh, for sure. And if you look at the stage, how it's the love letter to Disney animation, but we have that the desk light is 35 feet tall, I believe. Oh, where are you going? There's a light during the show. You see characters that were drawn, and actually they were drawn by Eric Goldberg. Now we got to speak. Do you remember at D23 we got to speak to Eric Goldberg and the creators of Drawn to Life about how much personal touch has gone into the production, especially with animation, and how the animation that you see during the show are things that were actually drawn for this show. And last night, somebody had said about how you will see like separate pieces of paper with characters on them. Now you're seeing characters that normally don't go together. There's like Olaf, and then there's Baloo, and then there's like Baymax. And this was the one time that they got permission to do that because they're not all on the same sheet of paper. They're together, but they're next to each other. So that's how they actually, were able to do that. But you're seeing some things that normally you don't see, and it's just fascinating.
And I think Drawn to Life is such an interesting and even an appropriate name, right? Because think about it from an animator's perspective. They take these static two-dimensional drawings and then they are taken somewhere and those drawings come to life. But for somebody like Eric, who I think even talked about it, to be able to see those drawings go from his mind to the paper to an animated film cell, now to literally come to life in this three-dimensional environment, for him as a storyteller, has got to give him not just a huge sense of satisfaction, but so much excitement being able to make these characters come to life in a very unique way.
Oh, absolutely. During the show, now you're seeing acrobatics, you're seeing performers, you're seeing a desk come to life. You're all these things. But if you look up, there's something happening all around the theater as well. I mean, there really is no dull moment when you come to see Drawn to Life because there's never like kind of a lull in the production. There's always something going on.
And it's a wonderful emotional roller coaster.
Oh, it is.
Right? So who cried?
Anybody else cry?
If you didn't, come on, don't lie. We're all friends here. I know that you cried. But I found myself laughing out loud and crying, and you sort of, and like a good Disney movie, you had those very heart swell moments that sort of ebb and flow. And the show it's a very it's this wonderfully linear story that has so many little surprising moments and elements in it too.
So all right, so I'm gonna push the envelope a little bit because that's what I do. So
There's nothing in here about
I know,
pushing
right?
envelopes.
Right. I'm gonna go off script. So you talked about how they put the storytelling of Disney in with Cirque, and when we were talking last night, one of the big I don't want to give a spoiler for people who haven't seen it yet, but those of you who have, from the very first time that we went to a media event, um, Michele Atwood, who's the writer of the show, he actually told us the story from the get-go. Do you remember this? And I'm putting you on the spot, aren't I?
Did you say the get-go or the gecko?
The get-go.
Oh, I'm like, I don't remember a gecko in this.
It's my Midwestern accent. It's the get-go. So when we actually got to see them the first time, I was really surprised because a lot of times they don't want to have any spoilers with storytelling. But right from the start, they said, okay, well, this is what happens. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to cry. Because, with Disney, there's always a dead parent involved. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not spoiling anything because the majority of
I'm not
every
spoiling anything for you, but there's a dead parent involved. Just so
But okay, if the creator of the show can say that, I can say that, right? If it's not, all right, maybe I shouldn't.
Well, because I think sometimes if people haven't seen a Cirque show before and you hear Cirque du Soleil, you have this vision that it is this very sort of eclectic show with acrobats and performers, and you don't necessarily understand or know that all of those performances are tied to the story that is woven in. Look, Disney is a storytelling company. It's what they do so well, and so is Cirque. And the acrobatic performances that you see are sort of icing on the cake of the underlying story, because this is a character story. It's a character journey that takes place. I will not spoil the end for you. Mephisto confirmed, but but it is, and I think that's the beauty of it, is this wonderful blending and the marriage of the music and the artistry and everything that's sort of happening, like you said, in 360 degrees around you.
It really is. And I think that now when I mentioned the whole art of Disney storytelling and how I mentioned the parent thing, like you said, that you have all these wonderful performers, but there is heart to the story. There's so much more than just what you're seeing in the acrobatics and all the wonderful performers. You're also feeling that tug on your heart as far as the actual story. And I think that is the beauty of combining the storytelling of Disney with the amazing performances of Cirque, because you're getting the best of both worlds when it comes to drawing to life. And I did cry. Now I took my younger sons to the show last night. Now I really wanted them to see it because I thought they would enjoy it. So when we got out, the first thing they started asking each other is who cried, because it is that touching, and they know mom's gonna cry regardless. So I wasn't even part of that question because it's obvious, and I did cry. But the boys even said the same. There's moments in the show that really pull your heart, and you feel that emotion for these characters, and it's just so good.
I did the same thing. I brought my family because I wanted to see it again. So, and as I was watching the show, as a parent, sometimes we're watching the performance, but we're also watching our children, right? Out of the corner of our eyes, we're trying to see how they're reacting. And I couldn't necessarily gauge my daughter, who, by way of background, she's 18. She's an 18-year-old girl. Do the math. Sometimes they come in a little bit skeptical. And she's also heavily involved in the theater at school. She wants to be a stage manager. So I knew she was watching this show from a number of different perspectives. And we came out, and her eyes were wide and watery. And she said, "Dad, this is the greatest stage performance I have ever seen." And she has been to Broadway. She has put on and seen a number of theatrical performances. And she was speechless. She said every part of this show, every sort of element from an artistic to technical perspective, like hit on every cylinder. And I think coming from, again, not just the theatrical background, but sort of where she is in sort of her age demographic, it was really interesting to hear.
It is. I was watching mine last night. I was sitting between my two sons, and because I had seen the show before, so as something was happening, I was doing this on this side, And I was looking over here because I wanted to see if they were enjoying it as much as I thought that they would. Especially my younger son is a theater kid, so he was just enamored with how much was going on. And there's a certain part of the show, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but the main character is Julie, and she's a 12-year-old girl, and the story revolves around her. And there's one scene in the show, and it's the most beautiful, haunting, emotional part of the show, in my opinion. And you see Julie's parents together, and a waterfall of tears. And then we come to find out that the performers who play Julie's parents are actually married in real life. So you
Wow.
do feel that connection with these performers. And now I had seen it before, and last night I sat bawling like I had just seen it the first time. So you feel that emotion in that performance. I mean, in all of it, you feel empathy for the characters. So you feel sorry for certain things. You feel happy about certain things, and it really tugs your heart in true Disney fashion.
And not to sort of pull from the name of another show on property, but there is this wonderful sense of it's a very harmonious show, meaning that one sort of flows into the next, and you can almost get a sense of the harmony in between the cast too. And I don't, forgive me if I'm jumping ahead, but we're talking about the cast, we're talking about the animation, the Disney, the Cirque, the production, but a critical element of the show too is the music,
Oh
and the
yeah,
music is remarkably good.
it is. And sometimes it's very strange how you're watching it and you hear the music, and then all of a sudden you'll hear a jingle from a Disney movie just swoop in, and then you hear like a little bit goes. Is that was that Pocahontas? Was that Frozen? I mean, there's different things that they twist into all this. Now, mind you, all of this is happening when there's amazing performers that are around. And I kind of wanted to talk about one performer in particular is the man on the pencil, or Mr. Pencil. I keep calling him Pencil Guy, but it's Mr. Pencil. Now, do you know who I'm talking about, right? Okay, it's Mr. Pencil. Sorry. So this is my one of my favorite parts of the show, because this performer, I will give you the correct lingo. It says Mr. Pencil springs alive from Julie's father's pencil pot as a friend who guides her through her journey. So this performer is so good, it almost feels like you're not believing what you're seeing, because of the fact that the strength and the, like, he could not have like a definite understudy. Like if he calls in one day, they don't pull Jim out of the back and say you're on the pencil tonight. I mean, it's like it's one of those things that he's just so good. I know, you guys, I'm sorry, but he is just that good. I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, when they called me to consult on weight training and stamina for, you're not supposed to laugh at that, but at least not outwardly. But it is, and I have this love-hate relationship with Cirque, because I sit here and I'm like, I hate that guy. Like, he's such a perfect specimen of a human being. I'll have another popcorn over here,
Yeah.
please. Just, I'm eating my feelings because I could never look like that. But we were talking about beforehand. There's so many elements to the performance from the individual actors, because it is the evocative and the emotive performance that they have to put on with their face, and there's also the physical performance that they do, and they're not doing this like once or twice a week, like they're doing it twice a night. What is it? I believe
Yeah, they're
nights,
dark on Sundays.
5 or 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
Like that has to be an incredible, I mean, I can't imagine what it feels like, but I have to imagine it's an incredible physical toll. But every performance that they give is the best performance that they've ever given, right? Because it's somebody's first time. It's if you haven't seen it, it is amazing to see.
It is, and he's flawless. And I remember, I was that person, and I'm telling my kids ahead of time, okay, you want to see the pencil guy, you want to see the girls on the unicycle, I'm telling them, and as they're watching it last night, I'm like elbowing, I'm like, see, I told you how great it is, and again, watching your kids, they thought it was equally as amazing. And then, speaking of the girls on the unicycle, I could not do a straight line on a unicycle, if we're being honest. I would fall, I would hurt myself. But
We have a surprise for you, Michelle. We've actually brought out a unicycle.
So I know how hard that would be. Now these talented ladies come out on a unicycle and they spin and they jump and they make it look like it's just the easiest thing. And some of these feats that these performers do, you almost sit on the edge of your seat because um, you know nor- normal people would not be able to do what they're doing. So you're like, oh my gosh, it makes your heart race because you don't want them to fall, and they don't. I mean, they're just that good. And you think to yourself, man, I wish I could do that.
I wouldn't be able to do anything that anybody here does on stage in any way. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so impressive. But when you were talking about the characters too, and there are so many characters, there's a wonderful cast of characters because there's sort of the characters that exist in real life, and there's the characters that exist in Julie's imagination. And like any good Disney story, there always has to be a villain. And the villain, sometimes the villains come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes the villains, spoiler alert, come from within. And the portrayal of Julie's doubts in this seemingly innocuous villain at the beginning, and sort of the journey that character takes too, like you have this understanding and attachment to what Julie's feeling, but you also sort of understand, like, when I came to the realization, there was this aha moment. Like, I wanted to tell everybody in the audience, I got it. I understand I understand it's her self-doubt. But I loved that element and that aspect of the show too.
And I think that the actress, the villain in the show is named Miss Hesitation. And she's one of those villains that you would love to hate, I guess you could say. She is very entertaining. And I didn't catch at first, I didn't understand the point of, I'm like, who is this character? Where does she fit in? And then, like you said, towards the end of the show, you finally understand what she represents. And she's a really good villain. And there's a spot in the show, not to spoil anything, but she's practicing her evil laughs. It's great.
What does it sound like?
I'm not doing it.
Come on, you can do it.
I don't have an evil laugh.
I think we want to hear like your interpretation of an evil laugh, right?
No.
You brought it up, so
I don't have one. Do you have one?
I don't. I'm sure my family would say otherwise, but I don't think that I have an evil laugh.
But it's like
No
the
comment.
best. It's the best part of this of her character, where she's practicing being a villain, and then you see up on the writing like the certain like steps on how to be a villain, and the evil laugh is one of the most important things, of course.
Well, and I think you actually bring up an interesting point, because the utilization of the space in the theater for storytelling does not just happen on the four corners of the stage. It happens all around you. Again, sometimes things will happen from the ceiling. And I love the use of the proscenium in terms of the projections and the animation. I think we were talking earlier, Scott, about how many of the animations that are used are actually pulled directly from the Disney archives.
Yes.
So it's not just things that were created by Disney for the show, but there really is this connection to Disney history, which, as a Disney nostalgic and sentimentalist, I love.
Yes, I agree. And I think that that's another thing, that you have so many people that are true Disney history buffs, and they find all those things interesting, like the Nine Old Men. The one of the desks is a dedication to Mary Blair, who is one of the best Disney artists or animators. And there's these little Easter eggs in there that are a tribute to the old history of Disney. And so I think that there's something there for everybody, whether you are a history buff, whether you want to see the acrobatics and the performers, or if you just really want to see a heartfelt story.
I think Drawn to Life meets you where you are. And what I mean by that is, whether you love the stage performance, the music, or even just as a Disney fan, and there's a moment where many generations of Disney animation are literally drawn to life. And I love the fact that there is such a wide spectrum of characters that are represented, because everybody in the audience is going to connect to somebody else. Baymax might be your guy. It might be Olaf. It might be one of the classic, or kids, what you like to call the really old characters from films from the 20s and 30s and 40s. And I love the fact that the show pays tribute and is really an homage to not just decades of, but really generations of Disney animation.
Oh yeah, and you are basically, I know for us, you're looking for your favorite character to appear because, and they do. You will see, one of your favorites at least across, the back of the production or pop up somewhere because they have the animation running all the time. There's something happening all the time, and there's a spot that, I don't know if it would be girl power or whatever, but they have like all the female characters up there, and Rapunzel's my favorite, and of course I spotted her. But there is something for everybody, regardless if if you like the newer characters, if you like the older characters, uh, and again the crew itself. So did you know that the Drawn to Life team, the performers, the whole production people come from more than 20 countries?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Because it says it right there. And I read it right before we sat down.
The 66 artists wear more than 750 costume pieces per performance. Now that's impressive.
And the other thing, and I'm not sure if it says it here, we were talking about before, but, and I think because I have a daughter who does stage management and I'm familiar with, and I actually was a theater major when I started out in college, but I think it's really important to note that this show does not happen. This magic does not come together, not just by the performers who are on stage, but the equally talented and large crew that is backstage and up in the catwalk and up in the production booths as well.
Now they said there's 52 crew members during each performance as well. So, there's so much that goes into this production, like you said, and I really feel that all of these things that combine really pay off, and it's just such a wonderful show. And I really encourage those of you who haven't seen Drawn to Life yet, you must go see it because you will not be sorry. You will be amazed, and you're going to want to go back for sure.
There's been a lot of conversation in the Disney community lately in terms of what's worth it. Is it a good value? I will tell you that walking into the show, like 5 minutes in, like I felt the value in it, not just because I was entertained, but because I saw how much my family was. And then there's this remarkable energy in this room too, as the show takes place, which I love because we all get it. We know that we might not know everybody else in the theater, but we know we're all Disney people. Like we get each other. And I think we feed off that energy. And I think certainly too, I think the cast and the crew feed off that energy too.
Oh yeah, and you can see their faces when they get these standing ovations and all the applause for the amazing work that they do. And you do feel a sense of camaraderie in the audience. And like even last night when it was over and the house lights had gone up, to see everyone's faces as they were leaving, and they were just in awe, like, wow, that was so good.
Because you know what, Michelle, you hear terms like, oh, it's a Broadway quality show. Oh, it's like a Broadway. You could pick this show up and put it in a Broadway theater or on a Las Vegas stage, and it would feel and fit completely appropriate because that is exactly what you are getting. And I think people need to understand that you are getting that level of theatrical experience when you come here. You don't have to necessarily go to Las Vegas or Broadway to get it because it literally has been brought here. And I think it's a testament to, this is Cirque du Soleil's, appropriately enough, 50th show in concert with the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. So it's a perfect marriage. But these two remarkable storytelling and production companies have put together something in this theater that really is remarkable.
It really is. And I wanted to touch on this too before we move on to another subject was, when you were a kid and you would go to the circus or you would see these performances or you'd see things on TV and you would see people on swings, you would see them on trampolines, you'd see them all these things. And as a child, you would look at those things and be like, God, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be on that swing or a trapeze. At least I did. You never felt that way?
Never said.
You never wanted to do that?
It's petrified. What are you kidding? Listen.
No, I said wish you could do it. Wish, not like you're gonna go do it, but wish you
like
could.
now, like I wish I could get up on the trampoline, on the trapeze, just in case you're listening. But I understand that you nor your attorneys will allow that to happen.
Right. But my point was that as a kid, I know I felt that way, that there was things that you wished you could do, even just once. And I find myself, watching this show and seeing all the performances, it kind of like throws you back to when you were a child and like, God, I still wish I could do those things.
All right, so Michelle, just so you know, tonight there's been an issue with the bus getting some of the crew here. They need somebody to fill in one role on stage tonight. What would that role be if you had to sort of play understudy?
Oh my gosh. And actually be able to do it?
You got to come out and do it.
Oh.
Assuming you had the the talent and the physique and all the muscle. God, I hate the muscles, but all the muscles that these guys have, you could do any. You're physically able to do anything. What would be the one role that you would love to have tonight?
I think I would be the safest bet and
I knew you were going to say that.
be one of the girls on the swings because I could do that. Because I would love it too. As long as I was harnessed in, like I'm not going to go fly out into the audience. I mean, I would love to do something like that.
Let's just be clear. Nobody has ever flown out into the audience.
No,
There's no splash zone in the front. like you
no,
have to
there's
worry
not.
about.
And see, and that's why they wouldn't have me fill in because they don't want anyone to fly into the audience. But I would hold on those chains really tight, and, But no, I think that would be so much fun. I think any small part of that show, I'd be thrilled with.
Yeah.
Even if I just ran around and did something.
Like, let's be honest. Like, even us, we were saying this before. Like stepping foot onto this stage, on the empty stage, just to sort of be up here, gave you a little bit of sort of this butterfly feelings. Like, and then I was imagining as I sort of went, downstage a little bit, and I was sort of imagining what these performers see and must think and must feel when this theater is filled with excited guests.
Oh yeah, because the stage up here is sacred ground. I mean, they don't. This is their performance area, and the fact that we were allowed to be up here and do that, and just maybe even get a little glimpse of what they must feel. It's overwhelming. Even just to be up here was overwhelming, and you can see the look on their faces at the end when they do get those cheers and their ovations. How happy they are with that kind of feedback, and they deserve all of that because they are so good.
Yeah, the guy grabbing onto the pencil, like the eye.
Oh,
like,
pencil
God,
guy.
I'm
guys.
exhausted. I'm exhausted just thinking. Don't make it weird. It was a little bit too of a breathy pencil guy.
It's pencil guy.
Stop it. All right. You know what?
I didn't mean it like that, Lou. I'm saying he's impressive. That's all.
Everybody is impressive. There are so. Don't make it weird. I'm just saying everybody in their own way, because just when you think you see something, I'm going to try and move on, and you're like, wow, that's the most impressive thing I've seen. Then the next act comes out and you're equally impressed at their incredible talents and abilities. Moving on.
But he really is good.
Say pencil guy one more time. Just kidding.
Pencil guy. So if you want to be able to see more of what we're talking about,
we're going to be here tomorrow. We're going to do this all over again.
Look at we really cracked up this row over here. You're welcome. I appreciate it.
It's the splash zone. The
It's
first
the splash
2 rows
zone,
of the splash
right?
zone.
If any of you who come to our shows, is random silliness in here, so you're welcome. I don't want to disappoint. So, and anybody who's new,
It says it on the note. It says
crazy.
insert random silliness 25
Random
minutes in.
silliness, right? It's just part of what we do. But you can actually go. Drawn to Life has a web series on YouTube that you can actually go and watch and see parts of the performances and stuff. So make sure you look them up on YouTube so that you can get a glimpse of what we are talking about. And I highly, highly recommend you going to see the show because Drawn to Life is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and the other thing that's remarkable about this theater, I've seen Lanuba a number of times. I've seen Drawn to Life twice. There's no bad seat in the house.
No.
Like, it doesn't matter where you sit. I know when we saw it, we sort of sat by the
a little bit.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And whether you're up front or off to the side, there's no bad seat because, like you said, the action is literally taking place all around you.
Yeah, there is no bad seat in the house, and you're always going to see something that is going on. It's quite the experience, and
That's the operative word,
What?
right? Because it is coming to Cirque du Soleil is experiential, right? We usually, I think we throw the word experience around, like going to the movies is an experience. Yes, it is, because usually there's some dude standing up and talking to the screen like a crazy person. But there is something about coming to live theater. And after 2 years of not being able to do it, I think we missed it
Yes.
even more than ever. And this is a very like experiential evening. That's why I talk about like go have an early dinner in somewhere in Springs and then come here. Like it will be such a remarkable part of your vacation, or for those of us who are local,
Yes.
like this is an absolute must do.
Yeah, it's a great night out. And that's the thing. We were excited to come last night because, got dressed up and went to eat and to come to the theater. It was so nice. Even the kids were excited. So we really appreciate the nice folks at Cirque du Soleil and Drawn to Life for having us come and do this today. We are humbled and honored at the experience and the opportunity. So they're wonderful. And go see Drawn to Life, you guys. It's amazing. So do
What she
you?
said.
Yeah, what I said. And pencil guy. So.
I'm never gonna be able to watch the show the same way again.
But he's so good, you guys. He's just so good. All right. I mean, talent wise, all y'all get yourselves out of the gutter. I meant that he is very talented.
Your husband looks so mad right now.
I
Look at
don't
him.
mean it like that. I just, oh my
What
goodness.
does pencil guy have that? Look at him. He's a specimen. What does he have?
All right, Atwood, I want to see you run and jump on a pencil and hold it with just your thighs and swing over the audience.
Wow.
I would like to
Wow.
see you do that because it would.
Main Street Mouse will be live streaming from the Atwood house all week. So you got to pay-per-view some of that stuff.
We might need to have like holes in the wall fixed at the house and all that, but it'd be totally worth it.
Not for the kids. Not for the children.
All right, I'm not even gonna try to dig myself out of this hole anymore because I know what I meant. But anyway, so I wanted to. Oh my goodness, I can't with them laughing. Do you know how hard it is? All right, we're gonna switch gears for a minute to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. So who's excited about that? Woo. Now, did you see on Friday that Disney put out a spoiler, and it was a very vague spoiler, and some people thought it was a April Fool's joke, but I don't believe it was. They put out a little video of a cassette tape, and it's playing the song "Roller Coaster of Love," and all of a sudden it rewinds, and then says Monday. So I'm guessing that maybe they're gonna announce the opening date.
You want to have a good time? Tomorrow morning, go to Epcot and just watch how many lunatics are lined up outside of Guardians of the Galaxy waiting for the soft opening.
People be like, right?
At Main Street Mouse
Yeah.
says soft opening
Soft
of
opening.
Guardians.
No, I did not. I mean, no, but I'm really excited, and I hope that they do have a release date or an opening date. But what I wanted to, you and I get to do some pretty cool things, and it seems like it's always me and you that get to do them. So Lou,
Your husband's shooting daggers in my eyes. Like, why is it him, not me?
first it's pencil guy and it's Lou.
I-
But no, so do you remember? Yes, you remember. What did
I'm
we
not
get?
that old. Yes, I remember.
Okay, Lou. What did we get to do that was super awesome, like right around the 50th anniversary?
I don't remember. No, we got, so as part of a special media only invitation from Disney, we had a very unexpected surprise. And it wasn't just you need to take off your shoes and put on boots and hard hats.
I forgot about that.
It's a production sometimes, like bagging your phones and putting on all kinds of gear. But we were able to go into a side door of that massive, and you cannot understand just how big the Guardians building is until you stand next to it. We walked into this very innocuous side door and got a sneak peek at a very, very, very tiny portion of what the Guardians Cosmic Rewind building looks like. And that you could have heard a pin drop because sort of the air came out of the room, because we saw a small section of the track which is impressive in and of itself. But we were talking earlier, the thing that struck me, Michelle, was walking in, and the supports had to have been these huge support beams, in the ground, 8 feet wide. Like, it's huge. And I think when we ride a roller coaster, sometimes we don't realize just how big it is. And I think the thing that's going to surprise people is just how big not just the attraction is, but the pre-show building too, which was the old Universe of Energy.
Yes.
For kids, you called it Ellen's Energy Adventure. That's the pre-show part of the building, not even just the coaster part.
It was, like you said, when we walked into this building, I think everybody gasped because, yeah, the building looks big from the outside, but when you go inside and see how big the coaster track actually is and how high up it is, it was so much bigger than I anticipated, because we went in there. I'm very rarely speechless, as most know. I didn't know what I know, right?
I know, like the two of us being speechless,
right? And him and I were like, oh. Now, mind you, well, when we did this, like he was talking about preparation, so like we had to go sit on the side. They made us put sweatpants on over our clothes. You remember that? And so we had to have sweatpants on and random sweats. Did they make us put weird shoes on too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had to wear weird shoes. And then they took our phones and like bagged them up. It was like top secret stuff, And it was hot. So we're all dressed to work out with our combat boots on just to go see, and we can't take any pictures. But what an experience. I mean, we're standing in our sweatpants speechless. I mean, it's one of those things that I will never ever forget, except the fact that we were standing outside, because I'm such a goofball. I talk to everybody, I just do. And we were standing outside waiting. Do you remember? It felt like forever.
Yeah.
And Zach Ridley is standing outside with us. Zach Ridley is one of the people that is building this coaster. He's an overseer. I'm standing there and I'm like, hey, I like your shoes.
Why do you gotta make it so? Why is everything? Hey,
Hey, I like your shoes.
You more were like a fan, like a little Alec, like, oh my God, it was Zach Ridley. Like, you fangirled a little bit in a wonderful way.
No, I just said I like your shoes, because and not knowing that was him. Now I knew who he was, but I was just so like waiting to go in, and I'm like, see this really cool looking guy, and he's got these silver Nikes on, and I'm like, dude, I like your shoes. And then when we got done, I'm talking to him about shoes. I'm like, oh yeah, where'd you get those? I got them about a year ago. And we're talking about shoes. I'm talking with Zach Ridley outside the coaster that he's helping build, and I'm focused on his silver Nikes. So then when we go outside, do you remember we walked out and you said, all right, we're gonna lie and we're gonna tell Scott it was terrible. Do you remember? Because we didn't want to, tell him that it was awesome. So you're like, put your game face on, and we're just gonna walk out. And when he says, well, how was it? We're gonna be like, it was just all right.
It was fine. It was all right. It was fine.
I think I lasted like 3 seconds, and I was like, it was awesome. And then later in the conversation, I'm like, there was this guy and he had these shoes on and whatever, and Scott saw him walk by. He goes, you mean Zach Ridley? I go, no. He's like, oh yeah. And I look back, I'm like, oh my God, like seriously. But I will talk to anybody.
So now that you say that, we all get the question like, oh, if you ever met like Walt Disney, what would be like the one question you'd ask him? You'd be like, Walt, nice shoes.
I like your shoes.
Wow, where'd you get those shoes?
So, you in my defense, I mean, I would hope that, because I'm just me, take it or leave it. And I really feel that maybe it's a breath of fresh air for, instead of somebody drilling them for the coaster, like, you got some great shoes on.
I'm sure he wasn't expecting that question all day.
And he answered me, and we talked about it for a good 5 minutes. And
Scott's going, if I was there, I would ask him all kinds of questions about the ride and the structure of the things, and you ask him about the shoes.
They were great shoes. But anyway, so only me, I swear. So we're hoping to get some answers, hopefully coming this week, as far as when the coaster will be ready. You hear rumors that, media previews and such are starting in May. I hope that's the case, because we have a mystery invite of some place that we're going to go, and they didn't give us any details. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe it's Guardians, because it's in May.
I'm just hoping that I can get to Zach first to ask him about what his fashion choices are for the day when that event comes up.
I seriously was looking at those shoes thinking, I want to Google those, because I really like them. I know. But maybe he'll remember when he sees me. He'll be
Oh,
like,
I'm sure
"Hey."
he'll remember. I'm sure. Oh, you're the shoe lady.
The
Okay.
shoe lady. Hey, fashion's important. So hopefully we'll know next week more information about Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, and just a little bit that we got to see is fantastic, and I think that you're going to be really impressed. And the fact that it's going to be a story coaster to where the carts are going to actually turn, but a lot of people were confused. I had a lot of our members ask me if it's similar to kind of like what they have going on with the Harry Potter stuff over at Universal. I know talking about Universal on a Disney show.
You're speaking a language. It's like I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, over on the dark side, they have Harry Potter, and there's a ride that's a story, and it's on a coaster. You've been on it.
Is that? Oh, it's the Hagrid Magical Musical Motorbike Adventure Through Space. Whatever the longest name of an attraction ever was. Is that the one you're talking about?
Green Gods.
Oh, I was on that. I haven't been on the Magical Musical Motorbike Adventure thing, but I have been on the bank one with the goblin people.
Oh, yes. Okay, that one. Yes. Goblin Bank people. Yes. So
what kind of shoes were they wearing? What kind of shoes did goblins wear?
I'm gonna guess they were silver, but I can't.
You're never ever gonna live this down, by the way.
Oh, I always got a story to tell. I always tell my kids it's always something. We always have a story. But so that is on a track, and a lot of people thought it was going to be similar to that type of a thing. But when we went inside, the roller coaster tracks are up so high, it's not going to be like the one at Universal. This is going to be something completely different. So I think that it's going to be really exciting to see what they do with it, because it's not like what people are anticipating.
Well, the launch system is different, right? It's got a
Yes,
reverse launch
reverse.
system. And I think what is going to be interesting about Cosmic Rewind is the way I think about Cosmic Rewind as a roller coaster, the way I think about Haunted Mansion. And what I mean by that is the purpose of the creation of the Doom Buggies was for directorial purposes. It allowed the Imagineers to direct your vision, to tell the story and have you see what they wanted you to see, as opposed to if you're on a log flume, you have the freedom to sort of look around. So the Doom Buggy sort of fixes your focus. That's what I think the vehicles being able to move and spin on this roller coaster track, which I don't know if it's ever been done before, is going to be able to do. So from a storytelling perspective, it's not just the thrill of the coaster, but it's going to be these vignettes and scenes that you're going to pass through that is, like your Cirque du Soleil, going to have almost this 3-act like experience.
I think so too. And do you remember when we were standing there? I know it was a lot to take in, but there was a certain area where the track went through something that looked almost like a star or a planet.
It was a gift shop. It went right to the track takes you right to the gift shop.
So you grab a souvenir as you're flying by. I hope they have like the
You're gonna swipe your magic band as you go by.
Swipe your magic band. I'll take that backpack. No, but they had Lou. Focus. So there was, and I love shopping, but I'm going to go back to the track for a second. So do you remember that though? Because there was a part, it looked like the track was going through something, and it reminded me of how they have the props in like Rock and Roller Coaster, how you're going through different things and like you're on a highway and you're whatever. But I specifically remember it bursting through something.
Right. There's like a physical prop, almost. It looks like a portal.
Yes.
that you're passing through.
Yeah. So I think that. But again, it's part of the story, and I think it's going to be a lot faster than what something like over at Gringotts or, it's going to be a thrill ride as well. It's not going to be something that's just slow and moving you from here to there. I'm really curious to see what they do with it. And then they had there's been cast member previews this week of like when you first walk into like what do you call that when you first
like the pre-show?
Kind of the pre-show, yeah, and just. Just to kind of give people a little tease of what it's going to be, but without giving away too much. And then with us, we got to see the coaster and we got to see inside, but we were wearing sweatpants, boots, and didn't have our phones, so we didn't.
And bad shoes. We had bad shoes,
and it was
bad
hot.
shoes.
I mean, not that we're complaining because it was really cool, but man, wouldn't it have been great to be able to take one picture?
So, no, because I'm the kind I don't want to see. I'm the kind of person, even stuff that's being released now, I don't really look at a lot of it because the first time I experience something like that, I want to see it with my own eyes. And I certainly wouldn't want to spoil anything for anybody. By the way, there's a deceased parent in Drawn to Life, but I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But I do. I like sort of the surprise factor of riding something for the first time. This is what you get when you ask me to come and join you.
Well,
I
it's
was a
been
last
great
minute
having
addition.
you,
I'm
Lou.
sorry.
No, I meant for yourself. I mean, like sometimes, like, okay, long story short, but when I still lived in Michigan years ago and my kids were small, I would go to the parks and let's say Magic Kingdom, and I would plan it. If you're going to plan your week and what park you're going to go to at different times, I'd always plan Magic Kingdom last because I wanted that to be like, not that I was never coming back, but the final memory of that trip. Seeing the fireworks, or at the time, Spectro Magic, walking down Main Street and turning around and taking that last view of Cinderella Castle because you don't know when you're going to see it again. It's kind of like that. Like I call them like mind movies, or like I want to embrace, and I want to put that in my head so that I have that memory. Don't say something smart.
No, I'm not. I'm the same way, but I relate it to food. Like I want that last bite. Like what you want that last bite to be, that thing that's going to sit. Just shake your head. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I strategically plan my plate the same way you strategically plan your trip to Walt Disney World. What's that last thing you want in your mind? What's the last thing that you want to taste before your meal is over?
All right, fair enough. But with oh my gosh, how does this happen? We're totally off track. No pun intended. But back to the track. So I wanted to be able to remember that because we couldn't take pictures. We couldn't do this and that. And when I ran back out, I wanted to tell Scott everything that I could remember. And then we went live on our Facebook page because I wanted to tell my audience everything I could remember, because I knew that that's all I had, what was up here. And there was so much going on for the 50th anniversary media events. I didn't want to forget. You know what I mean?
Lot. Yeah, it was a lot. It definitely was a lot to take in and process. And people ask all the time, and I think it's interesting when you get to see something backstage, big, small, or otherwise. Or has anybody ever been walked off an attraction because it broke down? So I've been coming here for 50 years. I've literally never been walked off an attraction before. Like I don't know what that experience is like. But I have to imagine, like, you love being able to see something that you're not supposed to see, and you want to sort of save that in your mind's eye. And I've always felt that sometimes the more you know, it doesn't spoil the magic for you. I think it helps to enhance your appreciation and enjoyment of it. So for me, remembering not just the track, but that single large pylon gives me a much greater appreciation of the engineering and the brain power that went into building that, which I think is going to make me appreciate my enjoyment of riding it whenever it finally opens.
Yeah. And it kind of, they know what they're doing because they're building up that excitement. Like you go running out of there and you can't wait to tell people what you saw. And when you have nothing tangible to show, then you just use your enthusiasm and what you remember about the experience. And that works too. And I'm really excited. I hope that, there was a leak on Twitter a few weeks back that somebody said Memorial Day weekend. But then it got pulled down right away. So there is no official date as of yet for the opening of Cosmic Rewind. But if anything, if that spoiler that hit Friday is alluding to what I think we're going to know something this week.
I'm telling you, tomorrow morning, just post a little video of yourself. Hey, I'm in my car. I'm on my way to Epcot. Something special. You never know what's going to happen, and just watch.
Just watch. And the power of social media, that would actually happen. It would. Do you know?
I'm sure. I'm not kidding. I'm sure there'll be people there tomorrow who are expecting. Lori's shaking her head because she's like, of course I'm going to Epcot just in case.
You guys are all going, right? You're like, we'll be there. I want to see all your selfies standing outside going, we're here. Woo.
Just hold up a sign like first one in line.
First one.
I'm 4 weeks early, but I'm the first one in line.
Hope you brought comfy shoes. But
back to the shoes. Everything's the shoes.
Hope they're silver and Sorry. Okay, so we're getting close to the end of the show, but I did want to also mention two more things before we wrap up. That it was announced that the full-on experience of character meet and greets are back. They will be back April 18th, I believe they start. Is that correct?
As someone who is an admitted hugger, this is what we've been waiting for.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Imagine the tears that are going to be shed by people. Beatrice, I'm looking at you. The first time you can run up and hug. So April 18th comes, the gates are wide open. You can go and have a picture and hug any character in Walt Disney World. I know this answer. Who do you go to first?
Oh, look at my people are 100% correct. Rapunzel, and then I probably would do Mickey would be my second. What about you?
I can't say Rapunzel because it would sound creepy. Like if I said Rapunzel the same way you said Rapunzel, it would be really like, oh, look at the weird old guy. So I will say, you know what? I'll say Baymax because Baymax is a hugger, and we have that same sort of rotund figure. So I'm gonna say Baymax.
And for the record, I did not say Rapunzel the way I said pencil guy. I said Rapunzel.
No, thankfully you didn't.
I said Rapunzel, of course. I mean, and it's funny how like when everything was shut down, there's so many things that we took for granted that you could go, hug a character, or you could see a certain show. Now that Festival of Fantasy is back and we're starting to get things more normal again, I think that having the characters back is just more icing on that cake that people are, I think people really need it. And also they announced this week that all the resorts are finally open. So another thing that is normal again. Look at everybody's happy and clapping. So yes. So I think that we're getting there, and people miss being able to do the things that they love for that period of time. And being able to go to the parks and see the characters and stay at their favorite resorts. And now they can also add Drawn to Life as as for their itinerary when they come to Walt Disney World.
Although you cannot hug the character. Please do not come up on stage and hug the characters and draw. No, I have the note. Lou, please do not come up and hug the characters again. I learned from the first time. I will not try that a second time.
Yeah, when the acrobats are jumping in the air, don't try to reach up and like hug them. They would really frown upon that. So don't do that.
Pencil guy. Pencil man? Pencil guy? The human pencil? What's his name? Now I'm confused.
Oh my God.
Mr. Pencil.
Mr. Pencil. It's the human pencil. Really? I can't. I got nothing with that one. But he is good. I'm just saying. So if you haven't seen Drawn to Life, now do I at least have you intrigued about the man and the pencil? I mean, did I at least give you that much? All right, see, there you go. See?
There's more to Drawn to Life than just the man who's a pencil. Yeah. I got you.
There is. The performers are fantastic.
And look at their shoes. The shoes are amazing.
You want to hear something funny? So there's a part where the girls are on the swinging like pendulums and they're jumping from side to side. And truth be told, I was looking at their shoes last night and I was thinking, oh my gosh, those shoes look really comfortable. I really want a pair.
I'm self-conscious. I'm literally thinking like, what shoes did I put on today? Is she judging me based on the?
I mean, they're not silver, but
I'm not. I don't try that. I'm not Zach Ridley, so.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just told that embarrassing story to everyone. But what you see is what you get. But but you are right. It's not just about the pencil, which he's fantastic. But my stop. I'm being serious. I asked my kids last night what part was their favorite, and they really enjoyed the girls on the unicycle. And my other son, he loved there's the wheels, the dual, like the two wheels that go up, and these performers walk inside the wheel and outside the wheel, and it's just spinning and spinning, and they jump, and it makes it look like it's just so seamless. And they're jumping and they're going inside the wheel and outside the wheel, and it's going like this, and you almost can't breathe because like like how are they not falling? I mean, I know you're supposed to feel that way, but it's just wow. I mean, wow. Yeah, so the guys on the wheel are very good as well. What?
And I'm literally not saying anything.
I know, and I was waiting for it. Unicycle, the wheels, and the pencil. But it's all good.
It is. It is a wonderful, wild, emotionally evocative ride that does not disappoint.
It does not disappoint, and you will definitely want to go see it again, and you will want to bring your friends and family back to see Drawn to Life with you again, because it just there's so much going on that you will definitely maybe see something the second time that maybe you didn't notice before, because it's just such a wonderful and beautifully done show. I'm looking forward to seeing it again as well, and I'm really excited that the people that went with us last night, when it was over, I'm just that person. I'm like, well, what did you think? Did you when you recommend something you want to see, did you love it as much as I did? And they all did. So it made me feel good that I was spot on there.
I know my family loved it, and I can actually measure how much because of how much we ended up spending in the merchandise shop as soon as we were done, because my daughter needed everything.
Well, yeah.
She needed everything to take home. So
Yes.
you're welcome, by the way. three sweatshirts later, you're welcome. But yeah, we want to come and see it again.
Yeah.
Like we've seen it once, and I think it's one of those things that it is absolutely not like a one and done show. I think you come back because there's so much happening throughout the production, and even while it's on stage, that you'll come back and see it a second time and pick up things that you didn't see the first.
And I believe also, in addition to that, not only will you want to come and see it again and to see more facets of what they have to offer, but also bring your family and friends, like when they come to town. Like, what are we going to do on Saturday? Well, I have the best idea. We're going to go to see, Drawn to Life at Cirque du Soleil. Because I'm the type of person, if I really believe in something and if I feel something is wonderful, I try to share it with as many people as I can, because if I'm excited about something, I want them to feel that joy from whatever gave that to me as well. And I really feel that Drawn to Life does that.
So I have an interesting question for you. So I'm more of a dinner and then a show kind of guy, or are you like a see the show first and then have late night Disney Springs?
Ooh, how about dinner, drinks, show, shopping?
Oh, I was hoping to say dinner, show, second dinner, nap time. But we can substitute. So define. Okay, make your perfect night in Disney Springs. You're going to see Drawn to Life with your friends and family.
Yes.
Where do you go for dinner or late night before or after or both?
Well, if we want to stay in this area, like last night we went to Splitsville, and we just got like nachos and pizza and things like that. And they have excellent frozen drinks there, by the way.
As a quick aside, and some of the best sushi on property.
That's what my kids had. Yeah,
Right?
see?
The sushi is so good.
Yes, and they have a chicken fried rice there that is outstanding as well. It's
And
my
so
new
is the
favorite.
sushi.
Right? And those drinks, the frozen drinks. But so yeah, we did that last night. And then when we got here, I wanted to mention another thing before we wrap up. So everybody's into collecting things at Disney. It's like part of like your rite of passage that you're going to buy something. So they actually have a popcorn bucket here at Drawn to Life that you can get during the shows as an extra souvenir. And it was only $12, I believe. And the popcorn is kind of a greenish color. So it was really cool.
Were you supposed to say that the popcorn was a greenish color, or was it just an off night?
No, it's supposed to be. It's magical popcorn.
He's going, don't mention the green popcorn. It's
Now
supposed to.
I'm
It's
thinking,
supposed to
should
be
I-
green. Okay, it's supposed to be.
See? Now you're making me
Just want
doubt
to be
my.
clear for the for anybody who's watching.
It wasn't moldy popcorn or anything. It's supposed to be green. Here I am trying to tell you all about souvenirs and how cool it is, and he has to go throw it in. All right, whatever. But yes, you can get a souvenir popcorn bucket. So, and I believe you can. Woo.
Sorry.
I think you can only get that during performances, correct? Okay, see, yes, that's right. She's
She's going, cut off Mongello's mic.
Yeah, cut it off, cut it off. So anyway, we're going to wrap up and we're going to let our at-home audience go. And those of you who are here with us today, we will take questions and do our raffle. So all of you guys stay seated. And you haven't had enough of this crazy yet. And all of you at home, we really appreciate you tuning in and watching our show. Again, we are so humbled and grateful that Drawn to Life and the wonderful folks at Disney Springs and Cirque du Soleil actually had us come out and do this show from the stage. We're very grateful. And thank you, Lou, for being my cohort and partner in crime for the show.
Thank you for inviting me. This was a lot of fun. I'm sure I'm not going to be invited back again. So thank you for having me while I could.
I don't know. You bring me some silver shoes or something. We'll talk about it. But thank you all at home for watching. And again, you can go to Drawn to Life web series on YouTube to get more information. And of course, you can get tickets. And I highly recommend you come see Drawn to Life the next time you're at Disney Springs. So everyone at home, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it.